What you guys don't understand is that there's a new world order takeover that's going to happen in the next 4 to 5 years. I'm going to explain exactly how they're carrying that out in the UK and the US. First, let's watch a video, then I'll explain.
I'm supporting the war crimes of Netanyahu, and I'm wondering if you'll arrest me.
No, you've got freedom of expression, freedom of speech. That's all I've got to say.
I'm supporting a genocide, and I'm not getting arrested. She is protesting against a genocide. She is getting arrested.
So I'm against the genocide. They're going to arrest me. You've been walking around telling the police you support genocide, you support the killing of Palestinian women and children, and then arresting you.
I can walk completely free.
It's ridiculous.
I'm supporting the Israeli government and supporting a genocide, and I'm not getting arrested, but you're getting arrested. But you're okay for me openly to say that I support a genocide?
You've got a freedom of speech, right to say what you want.
Let me come clean. I don't actually support the Israeli government. How could you support the Israeli government considering what's happening in Gaza right now? If we care about our human rights, we must defend our right to protest against genocide.
Okay, so as you can see there, this guy was going to the police and saying, I support the genocide in Israel. I support Israel. I support Israel. But anybody else who didn't support Israel was getting arrested. What does this have to do? It has to do with the deeper picture here. They do not want you going against Israel, but the bigger picture than that is they do not want you even thinking about going against the Muslim influx, the immigrants that are coming in, the Muslims. Now, in the UK, every day by the thousands, by the boatloads, young, fighting age men that are from Islam, that are from Islamic countries are coming over. They're putting them in hotels for 3 years, paying for their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, paying for them to get PlayStations, just giving them money left and right, giving them debit cards, giving them everything while people in the UK are suffering financially. Why are they doing that? And how is it different from the United States? And why? What is the bigger picture here? It all goes back to a document written by the United Nations called Agenda 21, written back in 1991. They want smart cities. They want everybody under AI control, under digital control, and they want everything completely off limits. So if you try to go outside of the city, you can punch it into your electric car, but if it's off limits, which 95% of the world will be off limits to us very soon in the next 5 to 6 years, your electric car just won't go there. But how can they convince everybody? Because in the United Nations document, Agenda 21, it specifically says people are not going to go along with this new world order. One world government, one religion, one economy for the entire world. So how are we going to convince them? Well, they'll be convinced if there was a worldwide event, a worldwide civil unrest, or something that's causing the people to beg for the government to come in and fix everything. In the UK, here's what they are planning. You're probably wondering, why is the UK letting all these guys in? There's not a lot of women and children coming in. It's all young men of fighting age, strong young men, Islamic men. Why are they putting them up for free? They know their country's suffering. Why are they doing that? Well, I'll tell you why they're doing that. Because they are guaranteeing a civil war between white people, conservatives, and Christians against Islam. That's why they're letting thousands of Islamic people in every single day, because they know someday when the balance is tipped into the favor of the Islamic culture in the UK, the Islamic culture and the Christian culture and the white culture and the brown culture and the left culture and the right culture will start to literally get in the streets and try to kill each other once it hits a tipping point. And that's exactly why they're letting all those Muslims in. So the government can come in later and say, you guys need us to fix this. We need digital IDs. We need microchips in your hand. We need to know who you are, what you're doing at all times. We need to monitor your social media. We need absolute military control. How does this differ from the United States? How does this differ from Antifa, Republicans, Democrats, ICE? How does this differ? Well, in the United States, we're a much, much bigger country. It would take a lot longer to let in a different culture than us that is completely opposed to our Western ideology before the tipping point happens. So they're not going to do the same plan that they are in the UK with the Muslims and the Christians. What they're going to do is they're going to turn the left and the right against each other. That's going to be our plan in order for the government to come in. As you can see already, take a look. You think this wasn't designed? You think this wasn't by plan? You think the government, with all their resources, all their psychologists, all their analysts, all their budget, you don't think they could have avoided all of this? You think Biden and Trump, they're not somehow working for the same overlords that own them? Are you crazy? This is where it's heading. You see what this is heading towards? They want this in every city. They want this in every town, in every state, everywhere. All over at the same time so that the government can come in with their new world plan. How do we fix all this? How do we fix all this civil unrest and this AI and this new technology and the economy and the left versus the right and the white people against the brown people and the Christian against the Muslims and against the Jews and everybody against each other? They're fomenting this. Because eventually in the world, and this is going to happen in the world, not exactly how it's happening in the United States and the UK, but they're going to let everything unravel into absolute chaos until we beg the government to fix it because we can't get water, we can't get food, we can't get formula for our babies. That's exactly where this is heading because we're going into a new world order. An order using AI and technology and digital. Everything's digital. That's where this is heading, guys. And I'm going to stay on YouTube. And I'm going to keep talking about this for the next 5 years. And I promise you someday someone will come back and say Vox Trace talked about this. That 5 years ago he was saying the same thing. The government's going to let all this civil unrest happen in the UK, in the United States, all this protesting, all this tear gassing, all this government against the people, the left against the right, the Muslims against the Christians, everything. Everything's going to keep going for the next few years until we're sick of it, until we can barely operate on a daily basis or even get ourselves any food. The prices are going to keep going high. We're not going to be able to afford an apartment, even on 3 jobs. And someday the government will come by with their absolute brilliant plan. What is that plan? Stick everybody in smart cities, give everybody a car, a job, an apartment, everything for free. But guess what? Now you have to get a digital ID, a microchip implanted. You have to have total surveillance. Your car won't even drive. You won't be able to drive your car. Your car will drive itself. You'll just input the coordinates or where you want to go. 90% of the places you want to go, it'll say, sorry, that destination is not allowed anymore. And it'll all be under the guise of saving the economy, saving the environment, saving the civil unrest, saving all the religions that are fighting against each other, saving the people against the government against the people. And it's all coming, guys. Just get ready. Just get ready.